everyone. Happy Tuesday and happy So What Day. As you can see, I'm kind of set up in my studio because we are filming this week for some upcoming exciting educational opportunities for all of you. So pardon the mess behind me, but today is a super exciting special day because we are celebrating the 36th birthday of Sulky. That was my party noise maker. Maybe a round of applause is better. All right, so I'm happy to see a lot of you already waiting to watch today because we are playing Sulky Bingo today. It is Sulky Birthday Bingo. And there's a lot to tell you about for how to join this bingo game. So bear with me. I'm going to rely on my notes so that I don't forget anything. For those of you who are not already subscribed to our newsletter list, you have not gotten an email telling you how to join and how to claim a bingo card. So there are a couple of things to do. First of all the instructions are in the description of today's post. So if you're not seeing the whole long description for how to join the bingo game, click on that little See More button at the lower right-hand side of your viewing screen. Once you do so, the whole description will pop out. You'll see a link to join our bingo game today, and you do need to open that link in a new browser window or a new tab so that you can watch us here on So What and have your bingo card handy as well. Some people are having their bingo card on their phone or a tablet, and then they're watching So What on their computer screen. So if that's easier for you, be sure and do it that way, or vice versa, of course, because you can watch us also on a phone or tablet, of course. So you will head to the link that is in the description of today's post. If you do, or if you are joining us because you saw our email reminder this morning, there was also a little QR code that you could scan to join the bingo game. Once you head on over to that URL where our game is hosted, you'll see a link to join the Sulky Birthday Bingo game. You want to be sure to hit the join button. There is another button on there. It's a little confusing. That button says, what does it say? It says board or flashboard. And you want to be sure to click join instead of that little board button. Either way, it's going to prompt you for a password. You want to be sure it's prompting you for a password and your screen name, okay? And it's a little bit confusing. So as long as you click on join, it will say enter password, enter name. The password is Sulky123 with a capital S. That's your password to join in the game. We have a limited number of cards to claim. And so I have some things to discuss with you while everybody is hopping on and joining the bingo game and claiming their card. Once the cards are all claimed, that's it. All right, but we should have enough for everybody joining today. We did increase the number of cards available that we had last year. Last year, we had our inaugural Sulky Bingo game for our 35th anniversary, and it was a huge hit. So here we are again playing the Sulky Bingo. And some of you are asking, what are the prizes? What can we win? Well, if you do have a bingo on your card throughout today's game, you will win a $25 store credit at sulky.com. All right, so let me make sure that I have gone over everything, and then I'll get to some of the logistics. So you'll go to our Bingo Maker app, our Bingo Maker URL. Click on that, join the game, put in the password Sulky123 with a capital S, and put in your screen name. That will claim a card. Be sure to jot down your card number. let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see what that looks like. And I have to make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. All right, so here's what it looks like once you click on the URL to join the game and you've put in your password and name. You could see up here on the upper left corner above where it says current draw and previous draw, I have card number 25. And don't worry, my card is not going to affect the game in any way. Now, as we are working our way through the bingo, if one of your blocks is called, let's say Jason, who I will bring on momentarily, let's say he calls Sulky or S Sticky Fabrisolvi. I'm going to go ahead and click on the box that says Sticky Fabrisolvi under S, and it's going to turn a different color, okay? So you want to be sure, first and foremost, to click on your free square in the center, because if you do get a bingo, it's not going to register unless you have that free square selected if your bingo is along that free square, or if the free square is part of your bingo winning, section. All right, so click on the correct boxes, much like if you're dabbing your bingo card when you're in person playing bingo, right? But you're just going to click on it using your mouse or what have you. Once you have a bingo, a little pop-up will come on your screen and it'll say, congratulations, you have a bingo. Contact customer care at sulky.com with your winning card number, your name, and your address, and we'll get back to you. And that will be a way of claiming your card. All right? So hopefully everybody is with me so far. And keep your questions coming in the live chat because we have the best customer support team with us here today on So What, so that they can answer your questions, whether you are putting them in on Facebook or YouTube. Doesn't matter where you're watching today, you can still play. All right, so let me go back to my notes here, make sure I'm covering everything. All right, so, excuse me just a moment. I have a lot of open windows here, and I need to get organized. Okay, so jotting down your card number, making sure you have that. That's the only way that we can prove that you are a winner. Let's see. You can use the comment and chat functions to announce that you've won, but you don't need to do that. But we know everybody gets excited. Bingo is so fun. So you could say, I'm a winner, I won, or what have you, but it's not required to win because we'll know if you won based on the number on your card. Now, you must be watching live in order to win and in order to play. This game will not be accessible once our live stream ends this afternoon. So just letting you all know, if you happen to be watching later this evening, even though it appears that we are live streaming on June the 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And our So What lasts about an hour. We might go longer today because we have lots of bingo games to play and lots of chances to win. All right, so just to reiterate, after our live stream ends today, the game is invalid and inaccessible. Also, you have 24 hours to announce that you've won, basically to email us with that winning card number. After 24 hours, you will have forfeited your prize, unfortunately. We do have to do this just to prevent fraud and whatnot, so I hope that you all understand. Also, if you're a winner and you click away from the screen and you can't remember how to redeem your prize, you can ask for help in the live chat or simply email us at customercare@sulky.com with your card number. And if you forget anything else that you need to include in that email, they will be sure to get back with you and get all the information that is needed. All right, so I think that we are okay with all of the instructions. I'm going to quickly go through the live chat. Let's see. Vince says, I can't see you and the card. How do I do that? So when you pull, I'm going to try and see if I can do this. When you have your bingo screen up, do you see at the upper edge how I have a tab open that says Bingo Maker? Now, to the right of that tab, there's a little plus sign. You can click on that plus sign, which is going to open a new browser window or tab, and that's where you can watch the So What. Click on that little tab and you can drag it. Let's see if I open sulky.com. If I click and drag this away, do you see how now I have two windows open? So now I can put this, make it a little bit smaller, and I can even watch So What right here in the corner while I'm playing the bingo game. Is everybody with me? I know that's a little confusing. You can also make your bingo card smaller by going in the corner of your browser window and kind of dragging it smaller. So that's how you can do that. Hopefully that's a little bit more clear. And yes, thank you, Lacey. The password is sulky123 with a capital S. Okay, if you're on an iPad, can I get two windows? I believe you can hold on to your tab in Safari and drag it down using your touchpad. You may want to quickly Google that just to be on the safe side, because I'm not totally sure, and all tablets, of course, are going to be different. So I apologize in advance that I won't be able to help everybody on every single device, but you can try watching one on your iPad or tablet and watching the other on your smartphone or on a computer. And that way you can definitely have two screens going at once. I also wanted to mention, if you do claim more than one card, they have to cancel each other out. So there's really only one card that you can claim. So if you are already watching on one device and you've pulled it up on your iPad now and you need a new card because of that, one of those cards you'll have to discard. And it's just going to have to be the honor system so that we don't cancel out both of your cards. All right, let's see. Yes, and we are posting the link and the password in the live chat and in the comments. All right. Sue says, I'm using two devices, easier for me. Katie says, can we win more than once? I believe you can win more than once because we're going to be using the same card throughout the entire game today. So it is possible that you might win more than once. All right. Let me just make sure that everyone is with us. And yes, I don't think it's going to work on your phone to have two windows open, but if you do want to watch one on your phone and another on a different device, you can do it that way. Ruth Ann says, how do I get a password? The password is sulky123 with a capital S. And you want to make sure to click on join. Once you're on the bingo screen, click on join. Don't click on the little link that says, I keep forgetting what this says for some reason. Oh, it says board or something like this. Don't click on that. Click on join, which is the little black bar that says join, and that's how you'll be able to enter. All right, is everybody with me? If you did navigate away from your card, you can go back to your card using the same link, and it will say resume, and click yes. That way you're not claiming another card. You're just resuming the game that you accidentally left. All right. Let's see. My only choice was to join. Okay, perfect. For me, it came up a little bit differently, and there was a little button that said board, and I was confused, and I clicked on that just to see what would happen. And it did ask me for a password, but then nothing happens. So you need to make sure to click on join. All right. How do we know what squares to pick? Well, that is a great segue for me bringing on Jason Prater, president of Sulky of America, because he is our bingo master today. He's going to be calling out the letters and the sulky terms. And if your term is under the correct letter when he calls it, you will click on that on your card and begin filling out your bingo card. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Jason because he can help me answer a few more questions as well before we get started. So welcome, Jason.
Hey, thanks, Ellen. Thanks for having me on today and let me crash So What again.
Of
How fun is this?
course. I'm so
Yeah,
happy to have you here for Sulky's 35th, no, 36th
six. That's
birthday.
right. Yeah, for sure. Thank you again. Hey, I gotta just say, everybody, doesn't Ellen do such a great job on these So Whats? I just so appreciate all that you do each Tuesday, and I know our customers love it, and we love them, and that's why we're doing this today. This is going to be fun. Without all of you customers, we just don't exist. So thank you for helping us get to 36 years in business, and this is just a little way for us to give a little bit back to you and have some fun and a little education along the way, right, Ellen?
Absolutely. We're going to learn so much about Sulky products. And, Jason's take on things is a little bit different than mine. So, for a change, you'll get to hear from him. And, I'll probably interrupt here and there. So, just to reiterate, Jason's going to be making calls for our bingo game. And I'm just going to share my screen one more time. Is there anything that I forgot, Jason?
I don't think so. I think you did a great job explaining it. But for those that are new that didn't play last year or haven't had the opportunity to at some point play in person, the way this works is we're not playing bingo, right? We're playing sulky. So the first thing that when I make a call that you're going to be looking for are the letters S, U, L, K, or Y, followed by the name of one of our products or one of our educational offerings. So you got to listen really, really close because, and I'll do my best to enunciate very, very carefully so that everything is quite clear. But you're not listening for a letter and then a number. You're listening for a letter and then the name of something. So just pay close attention, and I'll start out really, really slow and make sure that I repeat it a couple of different times. I think we even have somebody who's going to be posting the calls perhaps in the chat, so you'll be able to see those calls there. And of course, because this is virtual and your card is not just a printed thing, it's on your screen, all of the past calls do show up there as well. And I don't know if Ellen said this a while ago or not, so forgive me, but once I make a call, if, for example, the card that she's got on her screen right now, if I called L Blendables, for example, for you to mark that square, all you got to do is click on it. And you want to be sure that you do that because it does require that you click them and claim that square in order to get the bingo. Um, Also, I forgot, we are playing traditional bingo, so we're not doing any funky shapes or four corners or anything like that. You can only claim a bingo with 5 vertical, 5 horizontal, or 5 in a row diagonally. You can all go ahead and claim your free square. I think you can click on that guy and make sure that one's ready, the one right in the middle. Let me think. What else? What else was there, Ellen?
Well,
I think she mentioned this, but we do have, and I think it'll send you a message if you happen to be a winner. You'll get a message telling you how to claim your prize, but it's really, really simple. Make sure that you have your card number, which Ellen did show. I think it appears in the four corners of the card, and also down in the bottom middle of the card is your card number. We'll need that along with your name, your address, and your email address so that we can be sure to get you set up properly on our website so that we can deposit the $25 credit in there. And yeah, you can spend that however you want. Isn't that fun?
it's perfect. I will say, Jason, you're completely frozen. We can hear you great, but your video is completely frozen. So if you wouldn't mind just logging out and coming back to us, and in the meantime, I will show everybody what it looks like when they click on their free square if they haven't done that already. I'm sharing my screen again. So when I click on it, you'll see it turns orange, and that's what will happen to the other squares. If you happen to click on a square that was not called, it will not turn orange, and it will not allow you to move forward, I should say. So there we go. Jason's back. All
Am I
right.
back?
Yes, you're back, and it's looking good.
Right.
So just to reiterate, up here it says current draw. That is going to be the letter and the term that Jason's talking about currently. And then all your previous draws will be listed here. So as Jason mentioned, if you happen to miss one, you can review here and click through on your card. Someone did ask, they printed out their card and they're going to play on the paper and watch So What. The only problem with that is you do need to click through on your spaces so that it looks like you have an active card. So,
We won't be able to tell that a bingo has happened if we don't if they don't click those spaces, right? We have no idea if they won by just ticking them off on their sheet, and they would have no way to notify us that they've bingoed unless they're going to put it in the chat. So yeah, make sure that if you're using a manual card and you do get a bingo, hurry back to your bingo card on the screen and check off everything there so that we can announce that you did win.
Perfect. All right. Shall we get started here, Jason?
Yeah, and I guess I didn't say this, and maybe you said it, but we're not just going to call the names of the products or events. We're going to talk a little bit about each one, right? The whole point of this is a little education to go along with the fun. So we're going to tell you some fun stuff about each product as we go. So yeah, I think we're ready to go. Ellen, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Excellent. So I'm going to make the first call here, everybody. And you may see me looking down or looking over. I've got a couple of screens going, trying to run this bingo caller. So just bear with me. This is only the second time we've done this. So I'm not exactly an expert at it. So let's go. Here we go. The first call is L Perfect Applique. L Perfect Applique. Well, Perfect Applique is one of our newer products, and we kind of loosely, it's part of our stabilizer line, right? But what it is a very lightweight, fusible web that is really one of the lightest ones on the market. It's available in a couple of different sizes. We have it in a 1 yard by 18-inch wide piece, and then we also have it on a 3-yard roll that is also 18 inches wide, and it just works really, really great and when you're doing appliques, as the name implies, for fusing those appliques to other fabrics. I think Ellen might even have an awesome image of a project using Perfect Applique where we have, I think, something like 7 layers. Yeah, this mandala mosaic it's called, and in fact this is a kit that we have on sale right now on the website. I think it's like half price. Mandala. Is that mandala or mandala, Ellen?
I don't know. I think it's pronounced one way for you and another way for me.
Tomato, tomato, whatever. But you can see in the picture there are each one of these flowers is a separate applique, and so when this was all said and done, you would think normally with a fusible web this would feel bulletproof, but this guy still is very nice and soft and supple, and it didn't really change the hand all that much. So that's what's so wonderful about this new product called Perfect Applique. And here you go. There's an image of the kit that we have for creating that fantastic project. Comes with the thread, the fabric, and the perfect applique that you need to complete it. So that was L, perfect applique. So now you ought to be able to see that call in your bingo card. And once I call the next one, you'll see that as the previous call. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and make the second call. The second call is S, stitch and seal. S, stitch and seal. This is a fun product. Also, sort of kind of part of our stabilizer line, but stitch and seal is an iron-on product that you iron on to basically repair the holes that you have made in what was previously a waterproof thing. For example, if you're doing machine embroidery on a raincoat, well, all of those punctures to your raincoat now are gonna let water in if you're actually out in the rain. So this product you take after you're done with your sewing or embroidering. It could be decorative stitching, it could be machine embroidery, it could even be quilting. But if you've done so on a waterproofed item, you need to reseal those holes. So on the back side, you come with this product and iron it over the back, like you see in the image that Ellen is showing. It's great for lunch boxes. For example, if you're doing a monogram on a lunchbox, or if you're embroidering on an umbrella or a raincoat, also like cosmetic bags, right? Usually the inside of a cosmetic bag is lined with a nylon type product. And so when you puncture that, if you had your makeup bag in your suitcase and something leaked out, you wouldn't want it to come through the holes, right? So this would reseal those. So that was S, stitch and seal. S, stitch and seal. All right. The third call is U, Twilly. U, Twilly. Now, what the heck is Twilly? Now, this is a product that we only have available in one little assortment. We're actually talking about bringing this out in individual colors. We haven't quite got there yet, but right now we have it available in a sample pack. And what it is a tackle twill fabric that is just really, really great for creating the background, if you will, of a patch or a badge, for example. This product is super stable. It's got a permanent non-woven coating on the back, making it really just the ideal material when you're making labels or patches or even certain kinds of applique. You'll see in lettering, for example, on a jersey, like a sports jersey, usually that is tackle twill that makes those applique. And we call it, funny enough, Twilly. So Twilly is that product. And again, we have that available in a neutrals collection of pre-cut sheets currently. That was U, Twilly. All right. Well, it's another fun new fabric that we have. Is our next call is L, Felty. L, Felty. Now, what is Felty? Felty is just what it sounds like. It's this really very high quality felt that works really, really good. And Ellen, you may have to help me out here, but I know we have a lot of customers that love to use this where you would be typically doing handwork on a wool felt or a wool felt applique. This is really the perfect product for that. And it comes in like, I don't know, 18 different colors, I believe. We have some assorted pre-cut sheets of it, and we also have it available in rolls of each of those colors as well. So that is L, Felty. Again, the perfect, oh, there you go. That's a really awesome image of a project using Felty as the appliques there.
Yeah, that's our ice cream zipper pouch, which is a free pattern. And then I also wanted to show, I'm so glad that you called Felty, because we just had our boba tea in the hoop zipper pouch webcast last week. And that is almost all felty. The front of the boba tea little guy is a cotton fabric, but the whole base of the zipper pouch is out of felty, so you don't have to line it, but you can. But since there's no fraying, there's a nice factory clean edge you can use against the zipper. It's a really great product, and it's a type of felt that doesn't stretch out of shape. A lot of other felts will do that, especially if you're adding machine embroidery or doing an in the hoop project. And I was just informed that we have a few of these boba tea pouch kits left. So if you didn't grab one up, you can still get one for a limited time.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. It is 100% polyester. This felty product, so it's very much a forgiving fabric, something that's easy to take care of, easy to clean, easy to wash. It's not wool, and doesn't shrink like wool. So that was L Felty. Oh, no, let's see here. Our next call is K Clear Embroidery Tape. K Clear Embroidery Tape. Now, I know all of you on here, most of you anyway, are big So What fans. I think Ellen just introduced this a few weeks back. This is one of our newer products. If you are a machine embroiderer, you're going to love this embroidery tape. Unlike all of the other tapes on the market, this one is very unique. It tears super cleanly, super easily, and it's got really good adhesion, but not so much that it sticks to your needle. So this is a really, really superior embroidery tape out there. Great when you're doing in the hoop projects and you need to hold down those various components of your embroidery. Zippers, like, for example, or ribbons or other kinds of things, pieces of applique when you're doing those in the hoop projects. This is a great product to hold those things in place. Yeah, that's a great view of how it's used. And Ellen, I know she demonstrated just how easy it tears, but again, I can't stress that enough, that it is just so different. If you've used other tapes that are available in the market, you got to try this one out because it is very much different than those and easier to use.
Yeah, and
So that,
this image is actually showing the back of the hoop. So when you're doing something like a little key fob and you have to secure some fabric on the back of the hoop, or sometimes you even have a piece of hardware like a D-ring on the back of the hoop, and you don't want that to scratch up your machine bed during the embroidery process. So I just cover the whole thing with the clear embroidery tape, and it makes a little barrier so that you can make little cutie things like this.
that's fantastic. We love those tools that make our jobs easier.
Lots of people, Jason, saying, I love the tape. I bought it first thing when Ellen showed it. I am definitely buying more. Also, a
Love it.
question, is the tape reusable?
Interesting. I would say as long as it's still a usable size piece after you've torn it away, absolutely.
Yeah, I use it several times. So I'll actually create my tape strips, like for example, for this. And then after I peel them off, I kind of put them on the side of my machine. And it's really helpful if you're doing, let's say, 30 key fobs for end of school teacher gifts. Ask me how I know this. You can use that tape like 3 or 4 times. So it's really great. It's nice and strong, but not goopy. Doesn't gum up your needle if you accidentally stitch over it. So you can tell I'm a fan.
All right. Moving on to our next call is why. Oh, another one of Ellen's favorite tools. Why slitting pin? Why
Oh,
slitting pin?
yes.
Well, I can answer why, because it is the best tool when you're using our Sticky Plus stabilizer for an item that you don't want to hoop. So you hoop your sticky Fabri-Solve, not sticky Fabri-Solve. Well, you could use sticky Fabri-Solve, but our Sticky Plus stabilizer in the hoop. This is the perfect tool for scoring that so that you can peel back just the paper release sheet on it, right? A lot of times people will try to use a pair of scissors or maybe even a knife or something like that that just doesn't work real well. Sometimes you can poke through the stabilizer. This has just the right weight and the right sharpness to the tip where it will only penetrate through the paper so that you can score it perfectly in two different directions, peel it back, and now you're ready to adhere the thing that you didn't want to hoop for doing your in the hoop work. Did I get that right, Ellen?
I believe so. Yes. I was busy searching for images to show it off, but yes, it sounded great.
I can't imagine there's too many people on today if they've watched So What that don't know about the slitting pin for use with our Sticky Plus. But for those that didn't, there you go.
It's true. I think I talk about it every Tuesday, perhaps.
That's fantastic. All right, our next call is S Craft Tours. S Craft Tours. Oh my gosh, we got so much we could say about that. Well, actually, last year was the second or third year that we've done these, but last year Ellen took a group of folks on a tour of Germany and Italy, visiting all kinds of fantastic places. And we've got one coming up this year going to London. So your very own Ellen is going to be taking a group of folks to London, visiting some awesome, I think, Christmas markets there. Right, Ellen?
That's correct. We're going to do Christmas markets. We're going to do Downton Abbey locations and Harry Potter exhibit. And we're going to be seeing all the sights and doing all the things.
Maybe even a few little projects along the way that you can do by hand, right?
It's true. I'm going to be doing a hands on workshop on one of the days when we have a little bit of downtime. And it's something that will commemorate our travels together. So.
Awesome. So if you haven't been to London around the holidays, this is a great tour. Everyone, after she gets back, everyone is always raving about just how much fun they had. Ellen's a fantastic host, and really curates these trips just for our customers. So if you haven't been on one and you've been itching to go somewhere fun, this would be a fun trip for you.
I do want to mention too, Jason, that the tour will close for registrations in about a month. So
Oh, good
if
point. Good
anybody is
point.
kind of on the fence or they want more information, they can contact us. They can contact Craft Tours. We're happy to walk you through, what does this look like? How does it work? Um, all of those good things. So yeah,
Awesome.
excited.
All right, our next call is K Polly Sparkle. K Polly Sparkle. Oh, wait. Oh, I think we might have just had a couple of winners. I think, let's see. Let me talk about this real quick, and then we'll take a look and see who won there. So Poly Sparkle is our newest metallic thread, and quite honestly, our easiest metallic thread to work with. If you have ever tried using metallic threads and you didn't like it, you didn't have good results with it, I would highly recommend trying the Poly Sparkle. Poly Sparkle is really a polyester base thread with our hollow shimmer metallic wrapped around it. And it just creates a really easy to use metallic thread available in like 54 different colors. Some really fun combinations of colors as well. And I want to say this, not that the other metallics are unusable. They certainly are. And I would recommend the same things for Polysparkle that I would recommend for those other metallics. And there's a couple of things that you just got to do when you're sewing with metallic threads. And the number one thing is just you got to slow your machine down. Right? They aren't like normal threads, and you can't treat them like normal threads. So you got to slow the machine down, but you also need to use a needle that is prepared for metallic thread. And we recommend a top stitch needle in a larger size, like at least an 80-12, or a metallic needle, which is very similar to a top stitch needle. It also has a much larger eye because metallic threads dislike friction. They need to move freely through that needle eye. And so you want to make sure that you're using the proper needle. And then also, the way the thread comes off the spool is super important when you're using metallic threads. And so we always use this weird analogy, and you've probably heard it from Ellen before, but if you can imagine toilet tissue and how toilet tissue comes off of the roll, it comes off of the roll sideways because it is flat. And all metallic threads have in them a flat component. Our hollow shimmer and sliver, the entire thread is flat. Even our original metallic and now polysparkle have a flat component. And what happens is when you try to pull that over the end of a spool, if you can imagine trying to come over the end of the spool, it's going to twist, twist, twist until it snaps. Again, envision toilet tissue. If that were pulled over the end of the roll, it's going to curl, curl, curl until finally the tension is so great that it snaps. So you have to pull it from the side. On most machines, that means using your vertical spool pin because your first takeoff from that or thread guide from that is usually to the side of that. So that means you're pulling the thread off the side of the spool over as opposed to the end of the spool. And so if you do those things, the other metallics will certainly be much more enjoyable to use. But polysparkle will be the easiest of all of those. And again, available in some really fun colors. So that
I was able to find a few pictures here. This is a bike bag project that I thought was perfect for this time of year. A lot of people doing, 4th of July bike parades and things like that. So this is a project from the Sulky blog, but this design collection is from our Uncle Sam design collection, and it's a mixture of polysparkle thread and rayon thread. So within the same design, you'll see some of that rayon sheen, and then of course little accents of the polysparkle as well. So if you purchase the Uncle Sam machine embroidery palette, you'll get all 6 of these designs in 3 sizes, as well as all of these beautiful threads. So you can see the difference here with the polysparkle threads and those rayon threads, and how there's just flecks of metallic running through some of those spools.
Awesome. And as I mentioned, we did have a couple of winners. I see that someone named Lynn has won. And also we have an undefined winner. So if you happen to be that person, let us know who you are. Again, make sure that you email us at customercare@sulky.com. You can also post in the chat there. Let us know you won. But make sure that you let us know since that says undefined. But yeah, congrats, Lynn, and you other lucky winner. Those are the first of 2. Now, don't clear your cards, anybody. Don't leave. Don't clear your cards. We're going to keep playing with these same cards. So we're going to just keep rolling right along here, okay? And as Ellen mentioned, you actually can win more than once. So if you happen to just be that lucky, good for you. Here we go. We're going to make the next call is K. Filane. K. Filane. Now, some of you may know our Filane thread product. That is one of our newer threads. It is a 100% acrylic product. And it's a really heavyweight thread. It's a 12 weight, just like our 12 weight cotton. It's the same weight, but it's acrylic, and it's meant to look and feel like wool. So when you see this product, it has a very fuzzy texture to it that's really, really wonderful if you're doing machine embroidery for animal furs, for clouds, for, I think, Santa's beard. And the really, really fun thing about it is that you can take a little wire brush after you're done with your stitching, and you can rough it up to really enhance that fluff and almost 3-dimensionalize it so that you get this really, really neat effect. And it's available in 129 colors on both a 440 yard mini king, I believe. But now, just recently, we've introduced it on a petite snap spool of just 50 yards. And we did that for all of you folks that that like to cross stitch and do hand embroidery, and you want something with a little extra texture, this product is really, really, really good for that. Where one strand of this, because it's 12 weight, is the equivalent of a 2 strands of your typical floss. And because it's a 50-yard spool, one spool, when used, if you were comparing it to a skein of floss used 2 stranded, one spool is the equivalent of 2 full skeins. And so at $1.99 for a spool, it's a really, really good value when you're doing those types of projects that will allow for a heavier weight thread and when you want that texture. We've got some fun designs and some fun projects on our website. The Peekaboo Pets that you're seeing on the screen is actually a machine embroidery collection designed for heavyweight thread, and that is key. If you're looking to use this thread in machine embroidery, you need to make sure that the design has been digitized for a heavier weight thread. We have some available on our site, but if you're looking at other websites, make sure you're looking for things like thick thread or heavyweight thread. When you find those designs, typically you can utilize this thread on those. And many times there will be of animals or other things that you can fluff up to have this real furry type effect. Anywhere, again, that you're using 2 strands of floss, you can also use this product. So in cross-stitch designs and other things, it's not always the greatest using 2-stranded anyway. In some of the wooden blanks that are out there on 16 count or finer, you need to go up a little bit in order to be successful using it. But it is just a fun product. That was K. Filane. Another fun product of ours, L. Blendables. L. Blendables. If you have never used our Blendables thread, I just encourage you to do so. Blendables, as in the name, are not like so they're not like your traditional variegated thread or multicolored thread. In most of those products, including our own rayon line that have some variegated and multicolors, they change colors in a very defined pattern. Usually that's about 10 to 12 inches of a color, and then it changes colors to color number 2. And then it changes colors after 10 or 12 inches to color number 3. And then that pattern repeats itself. And so when you sew with those, you get a very defined sort of striping or blocking effect. And you can very much see that with your eyes. And in some things, that's desirable. But with Blendables, they blend really, really nicely with multiple colors of fabric because they change colors not only randomly, but rapidly. So they're changing colors every 2.5 to 5 inches. And then they do that in a non-repeating pattern so that your eyes can't see any blocking or striping when you sew with those. And that's why quilters just absolutely love top stitch quilting with them, because of that. And also, like the Filane, we just recently introduced the final 96 colors of those. We've always had 126 colors of them, but only 30 of them were available in our small 50-yard petite spool of 12-weight cotton. And we just recently introduced all of the additional 96 colors on that same size. Again, useful in hand embroidery and in cross stitch and other types of handwork projects where you just don't need a lot of yardage. That little 50-yard spool is perfect. And the Blendables, of course, are also available on 330-yard spools of 12 weight, on 500-yard spools of 30 weight, and both king cones, or jumbo cones we call them, in 12 weight and 30 weight, a 2100 yard cone of 12 weight and a 3000 yard cone of 30 weight. So you can get those fantastic 126 different blendable colors in all of those sizes, but most recently on the 50-yard petite size spool. So that was L Blendables. We're going to keep going. We still only have those 2 winners. We want to give away some more prizes. All right, here we go. The next call is, here we go. Why organ needles? Why organ needles? Well, I'll tell you why. If you have a Japanese branded machine. This is one of the top selling points. Besides Oregon Needles being the largest sewing machine manufacturer in the world, sewing machine needle manufacturer in the world, they are the original equipment replacement needle, meaning your Japanese branded sewing machines all come with an Oregon needle in the machine from the factory. So that would include Brother, that would include Baby Lock, Janome, Juki. All of those machines come from the factory with an Oregon needle. And that's really, really important because while one needle to the next, the sizing should be the same, there are always going to be some very small differences. And these needles being in the machine from the factory mean that those machines were timed using an Oregon needle. And that's pretty important. When you want to go back with the manufacturer's replacement part, Oregon needle is it for all of those brands. I think Ellen's got a really cool little video for us too, showing the fantastic packaging of this. All of the packaging is actually a corrugated material. Unlike the little plastic boxes of other needles, this is a recyclable material, and it opens in a really fun, convenient way. Maybe Ellen can show us the video of how they work. Maybe.
Oregon Needles and exclusive eco packaging make organizing your needles easier than ever before. Slide the protective film down and separate the cardboard to easily grasp a needle. When you need to swap your needle for a different project or technique, slide down the protective film, separate the cardboard, and place the needle in a slot to the right, separating it from the new ones. Now you'll know which needle has been used when you need it again. Find Oregon Needles in this packaging only at sulky.com.
I just love that aspect of the packaging because oftentimes, especially with specialty needles, if you're using a metallic needle, for example, you may not be putting a whole lot of hours on that needle and there's no sense tossing it out, but you want to make sure that you reuse the next time you're going to use your metallic needle. You want to use the same one. And so that little cool feature where you can just push that a little further to the side, you'll always know then which needle you've used versus the plastic boxes, which only have 5 spots to put a needle, right? So it makes it harder to determine which one you used. Love that feature.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Don't throw away that plastic sleeve. I just wanted to mention, because I think the first time I used it, I cut the plastic sleeve apart and I was like, wait a second, that kind of protects the needle as you're storing it. So just a little tip from me.
Keep that little top part closed as well, right?
Exactly.
All right, here we go. Moving along. The next call is S Mystery Box. S Mystery Box. Geez, again, if you've been watching these So What's for any length of time, you know we've been having these fun mystery boxes like once a quarter for, heck, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years. And we've got a brand new one coming up in July called the Christmas in July Mystery Box. And this one is going to be bigger and better than all of the rest with some really cool new project inspiration and also a lookbook and some other fun stuff. All of these boxes are jam-packed with a lot of merchandise and just a fantastic value. So if you haven't bought a mystery box to date, they are super fun. They're super loaded with fun stuff, sometimes some really fun, cute, unique gifts, as well as tons of sulky products. So you're gonna wanna participate in this upcoming one, I assure you. Right, Ellen?
Of course. And I will, of course, tell everyone about it as soon as it's available.
That's going to be the Christmas in July mystery box. That was S Mystery Box. Okay, here we go. Moving along. The next call. U Stick and Carve. Oh, looks like we have 2 more winners. 2 more winners. Looks like Gene Stern and a Greta. Gene Stern and Greta. Awesome. Two more winners. Well, Stick and Carve, if you've not used that product, this is one of the funnest things I think that we ever did. You may all know our product called Sticky Fabrisolve. Well, quite a number of years ago, we had a gentleman send us a picture of Marilyn Monroe carved into a watermelon. And we were like, wow, that is super cool, but why are you sending this to us? And of course, he went on to explain, you won't believe what I've been doing with your product. And what he was doing was he was printing patterns onto the Sticky Fabrisolve that he was cutting into um, sizes that could fit through his printer. And then he was putting that onto things like watermelons, like pumpkins and gourds and all kinds of things, and using that as a guide for carving those fruits and vegetables. We had never seen anything like that, and we were opened up to this entire world of vegetable carving. And it just almost immediately, well, not quite immediately, but almost immediately, it was like, oh my gosh, this would be the perfect product for families carving pumpkins at Halloween. And so we said, well, Sticky Fabrisolve, that doesn't make any sense to the typical person who's going to just buy one of these carving kits and carve up a pumpkin. So we brainstormed and we come up with the name Stick and Carve. And boy, is it the easiest product ever for carving a pumpkin. You can simply print your pattern right on to this water-soluble, non-woven material. Once you do, you peel it up, you stick it right onto the pumpkin, and now you have lines for which to carve. You don't have to go about this whole transferring of the pattern onto the pumpkin. It's all in one sheet and carves perfectly. And then when you're done, all you do is rinse away or peel away the excess, and just a really, really fun product. No, it has nothing to do with sewing, but it did come out of one of our sewing related products. So that is Stick and Carve. And if you want to see how that works, just go to our website. We've got some really cool videos. We partnered with a guy who Zombie Pumpkins is the name of the company. He sells all kinds of fun pumpkin carving patterns, and we partnered with him and are giving away free patterns in that package. But he also did some fun videos showing how to use it. They have a super enthusiast pumpkin carving crowd. And so if you want to see some really neat stuff done in pumpkin carving, check out Zombie Pumpkins and the videos that are on our website.
And thank you for saying watermelons. I don't know why that never occurred to me, but that would make a really cute summer party or summer birthday party if you carved like the number of the child's age that they're turning into the watermelon. So cute.
Yeah, it just makes that process so much easier, and you wind up with a carving that just looks professionally done. Quite frankly, it's pretty fantastic. Everybody can look like a pro. All right, here we go. We're going to be moving on. The next call is K iron-on transfer pins. K iron-on transfer pins. If you've never used our iron-on transfer pins, this is just one of the coolest products that we have. We don't really get to talk about them all that often, but anytime you want to transfer a pattern from one substrate to another, the iron-on transfer pin can instantly turn that into an iron-on transfer. And the way it works, you can trace or draw onto just about any kind of paper. It can be notebook paper, it can be tracing paper, it can be a brown paper bag for that matter. And once you have that drawing, or if you've traced something onto the paper with an iron-on transfer pin, that becomes an iron-on transfer that you can then iron onto any surface that will accept a hot iron. It can be fabric for use in creating applique pieces, for example, or for creating the outline for which to hand embroider through. You can also use it for putting onto gourds or canvas or leather. Again, anything that will accept a hot iron. We've seen people using it onto wooden surfaces for carving wood. Because once you've ironed it on, you've literally transferred that ink from the paper onto the thing which you are wanting your pattern onto. So they were really, really, really popular back in the 80s, or well, I guess it was late 80s, early 90s when the puffy paints were popular. Some of you may have made sweatshirts using the puffy paints, all kinds of fabric painting. Iron-on transfer pins were perfect for that, for getting your pattern onto that shirt. And again, people that do hand embroidery absolutely love them. People that do punch needle love them for getting their patterns. The one thing about them that you do have to know is that if the material that you're putting them on has any blend of polyester, then it pretty much is a permanent transfer. So you do need to cover it up. Now, to that point, I'll say this. One thing that we recommend when you're using these iron-on transfer pins, so you've drawn or traced your pattern onto paper, we would recommend taking that and iron it onto a scrap piece of fabric, and do that as many times as it takes for the design to become as faint as you would like it, or as faint as you think you need it in order to be able to cover it up with the technique that you're using, whether that be sewing by machine or by hand or whatever. And we've seen, so there's two sides of this. If you want to be able to transfer multiple times, it's really, really cool, because we've gotten as many as 30 to 40 transfers from one inking. So it's a really just a fun product and an easy way to get your design from one place to another.
I wanted to mention too, Jason, you sort of touched on this, but it's kind of new to me. I always thought of using the transfer pens for transferring things like embroidery designs that you're going to stitch over. But it did not occur to me to use them in the way that I was just showing while you were talking, which is if you have, let's say, an applique pattern or even a garment pattern that has a sleeve pattern or little parts of faces, you can actually transfer those cutting lines to the fabric wrong side and then cut out all of your fabrics with the iron-on transfer pen, rather than cutting all of these little pieces of your applique and then trying to trace around them. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's a fantastic use. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was showing this sort of series of images while you were talking, where first you would trace over the top, and keep in mind you want your design to be the mirror image, because you're going to be placing this side onto that fabric. But at any rate, so you would trace along the actual lines of your applique, press to transfer the ink to the wrong side of your fabric, and then there's what that looks like. So now you can cut out your piece, and you didn't have to cut out your pattern piece. So
awesome.
I don't know how that never occurred to me before, but then you get
and
a
then
really
it's super
nice,
reusable.
Yeah, you get a really nice, accurate looking, finished project. So,
and they are, as the other pictures show, they're available in 8 different colors. So when you are working on something that you don't think you can cover up the edge completely, at least there's a color that might be close in match to what you're trying to cover it with. So, yeah, iron-on transfer pins. All right, here we go. Next call is S Polylite 60 weight. S Polylite 60 weight. I think we have another winner. Looks like a Glenda White. Is that correct? Glenda White. Yep, Glenda White. Fantastic. So the Polylite, which is available in 36 solid colors. We used to have some multicolors that have actually been discontinued, but 36 solid colors. Polylite is just the perfect product for several different things. One of the main uses for it is with small lettering in machine embroidery. I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you're trying to do machine embroidery of a small monogram, say on a men's cuff a men's cufflink or on a collar, or just small lettering in general, sometimes you can lose definition in that lettering when you're using a 40 weight thread. And if you just simply switch to the 60 weight, you'll get a more clean, precise embroidery that gives you more of the definition. You don't get crowding in that lettering when you use the 60 weight. But another fantastic use for the Polylite 60 weight is in the bobbin. Most of you probably know this, but bobbin thread is typically a 60 weight thread. Usually it's a spun polyester. Sometimes it's a continuous filament polyester, which is what our Polylite is. But because it's available in 36 solid colors, you can match your top thread pretty darn closely so that any kind of tension issues you might have where the bobbin thread pulls up to the top would be masked by using a similar color. And again, because it's the perfect weight, it just works beautifully in the bobbin. Quilters also love it. People that are doing especially really fine stippling, the 60 weight is a really, really cool thread for that as well. So that is our Polylite 60 weight thread. You just need to make sure you're using the right needle, like a size 60, I believe, on that, right, Ellen?
Correct. Yeah, it's very thin. I just happened to pull up an image of some great stippling work around that embroidery design. So you can see it's really subtle and kind of blends in a little bit more and really helps that embroidery design pop off of the surface.
That's fantastic. We're going to keep going. We're going to give away some more prizes. We've already got 5 winners out there, but I'd like to get, another 3, 4 if we could. So let's keep moving along, okay? So here we go. The next call is USOS. USOS. And what does that mean? Well, SOS is the acronym for Sewing Online with Sulky. And that's actually a separate website where we host all of our educational programs. And it's sewingonline.sulky.com. So the words sewingonline.sulky.com. And there you'll find things like free webcast. You'll also find what we call video casts, which are a little more involved content that have a really minimal fee to them. And then we've been doing some really, really cool stuff with what we call sewing sessions. And some of those sessions are embroidery related, machine embroidery that is. Some have been serger related. Some are strictly sewing related. And we call those sewing sessions. And those are full on, in-depth, step-by-step projects that include video instruction along the way. They all including our webcast and videocast. You can always comment on those and send us information and ask questions, so that they all come with full support from our educational staff, which do just a really, really fabulous job, but all headed up by Ellen. And she's the mastermind behind the content that you'll see there. And many times, or most times, she is the one presenting that content as well. What do we have coming up, Ellen? Don't we have something fun coming up?
We do. We haven't started talking about it quite yet. We're taking a little bit of a breather for the summer, and then we will be back in August with a really fun Halloween themed In the Hoop project with someone who's joined us before. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. Quick question for you about this particular call and sewing sessions. Is this different from the SOS call that you just made?
It is. There is one for online sewing sessions by itself, but the one that we called was USOS.
Perfect.
And we actually had another winner, our 6th winner, B. Sokol. Sokol? Sokol is the last name. And I want to mention, I see that there are 3 winners here that did not mark their cards completely. And so they're going to want to do that. And that was the one whose name is undefined, a Jean Stern, and also a Greta. You want to make sure that you mark off all of the squares or click on the squares that were winners in order to claim those cards. All right, we're going to keep moving on. We've got 6 winners so far. We're going to give away a few more. So here we go. Our next call is You Why I Sew. Oh, well, this is a fun one. So if you haven't heard about it or seen it, we launched a podcast a few years ago, 1 year ago, a little over a year ago, called Why I Sew. And it's where that is, interview people within our industry, and we've actually interviewed some of our customers as well on why they sew. We've had some fantastic guests from people like Sue Houseman to Martha Pullen, just a ton of different people from all different walks, folks that are into all sorts of charitable type sewing, from people that have started and run large companies within the sewing industry. Just been a really, really fun time getting to interview these folks and hear their stories. So if you like podcasts, if you like learning more about people, especially women within the sewing world and how they created what they've created, it's been a really, really fun podcast. And I want to say too, if you have ideas or would like to be on the podcast and think you have a really cool sewing related story and you want to tell that to a wider audience, man, reach out to us. I'd love to interview you and have you on the podcast as a guest, but called Why I Sew. I think we might have maybe a little promotional video to show. You can get this podcast if you're an Apple user. You can certainly get it on the iTunes podcast app, but it's also available on Google Podcast as well as Spotify. So yeah, Why I Sew, the podcast, where I am the interviewer and we talk to some really fun and cool people in the sewing world.
Yeah, there have been some great stories, and I was able to find that video, which I think, it really tells people what it's all about. So let's go ahead and play it.
Thanks, Ellen. That was really, really cool. Yeah, and so Ellen does a great job lining up all of the folks that we do interview. But again, I just want to say we would love for anyone out there that's listening right now that has a cool sewing story, reach out to us, and maybe you'll find yourself as a guest on our podcast. We're going to move on here. Let me see if I got the next call. Here we go. The next call is You KK2000. You KK2000. And in fact, I think that was our last call, but I want to tell you about KK2000. Oh, wait, looks like we may have gotten, oh my gosh, 4 more winners. There are 4 more winners. We got a Nancy B, a Pat Leonard. Let's see who else was new on here. Another undefined and a Mary Valasek. Awesome. Well, KK2000, if you're not familiar with it, is our temporary spray adhesive. And you probably, if you have used it, you know of our 100 milliliter can. Well, that can is no longer available, but we now have a 150 milliliter can. So it's 50% more, but only another $5. So it retails for just $24.99. And what makes KK2000 unique? This is the only non-flammable spray adhesive left in the marketplace. And that's really important for a couple of different reasons, but the main reason is that it's just simply a safer product to use. This is not something that your kids or grandkids are going to use as a flamethrower. I know, being a young boy at one time, spray paint cans were my favorite tool for making flamethrowers. You can't do that with KK2000. But the most important reason that, or thing that makes being non-flammable important, is that the gases that are used are non-flammable. So the propellant in this is an inert gas, versus most flammable products, including all of the other spray adhesives and basting sprays that are on the market, use propane or butane as the propellant. And that's meaning for several different things, not just the fact that, gosh, those are highly flammable, but another thing is that they are under higher pressure, and they also take up more room in the can. So when you look at this can, and it's pretty small, it seems small, but it has as much usable product in it as most other cans that are larger that you see on the marketplace. And the reason is this: because that gas, that propellant, is much less voluminous than propane or butane, you get about this much gas in the can and this much product. Whereas in most flammable products, you get this much gas and only this much product. That's the difference. And why that matters is when you go to spray the nozzle on a non-flammable product like this one, the product comes out at a much slower pace, and so that you can direct that spray a lot better. Versus the flammable products, when you hit the nozzle on those, they come out with a lot of force. And that means that the product goes into places that you don't necessarily want it, and you end up with glue in a lot of other places that you did not want it. And so those are the reasons why the non-flammable matters, besides being just a safer product. So KK2000 is great for temporarily adhering applique pieces, for positioning those. It's great for basting when you're making a quilt sandwich, and all sorts of other things where you need a temporary adhesive. Over time, we say temporary because it does dissipate with the air over time. So it will eventually evaporate and go away completely. So that was KK2000. And I believe, Ellen, that was the last of our calls for today. That was it.
It was. We went a little over on time, but we usually do. So,
Well, we did
everybody.
get 10 winners. So we
We
had 10
did.
folks out there. Make sure that you're looking at your cards, because I see a couple of these cards that are still not checked off. And maybe it's that you didn't realize you need to do it. Maybe you're a winner and you're going to reach out to us anyway. But there are definitely 10 winning cards out there, and we want to make sure that you get to claim your prize. So email us at customercare@sulky.com with that winning card number as well as your name, and we can get your prize set up for you.
Perfect. Everyone is saying thank you so much, Jason, and they love the information as usual, and they would like to see more bingo and more of you.
Well, it was fun. I love doing this. I got to do it just the other day, live at a consumer event down in New Orleans, and man, we just had a good time. Had fun giving away prizes, but it's just a fun way to learn, right? There are all sorts of online lectures out there today that you can participate in, and especially in the sewing world, where companies want to talk about their products, and we do a fair amount of that ourselves, right? But if we can make it fun sometimes like this, we want to do it. So if you have ideas, throw them at us. We're already contemplating the next Sulky Bingo and how we can make that more fun and more educational all at the same time. So we appreciate all of you showing up. Looks like we had I think maybe about 400 people with cards today. So that's a lot of folks out there that we got to talk to, and we appreciate every one of you for taking your time out, coming to hear from us, and really on a weekly basis participating in Ellen's So What's. she does a great job, and I appreciate it. And I got to say too, behind the scenes, there are other people that are making all this stuff happen. So we've got some fantastic people running our email marketing. We've got fantastic people on the graphic design. So if you like the look and feel of our website, Valerie's behind the scenes, just does a fantastic job. And I could go on and on about the team, but none of this stuff is possible without all of them. And so I appreciate them, and I appreciate all of you customers as well. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. And thanks for being here today on So What. I'm gonna make you fill in for me more often.
I don't think they're going to enjoy me as much. I don't have all the knowledge,
You need a sewing machine behind you. Somebody said go Saints. That might be the last time I say that out loud, but just letting you know.
Yeah, you know what? This is a really cool thing. If any of you, I want to take just one more second of everybody's time. So that wall hanging behind me in a frame there is actually free motion embroidered by Eric Drexler. So many of you know Eric as the son of our owners, Fred and Joyce, but also as a free motion guru himself. He gave that to me for my birthday one year, and it is one of my treasured prized possessions. And you just be astounded at the stitching that's on that, all done by free motion. And it's not small. It's a really large piece. So if you like what you're seeing back there, Eric teaches a class called Fearless Free Motion that's available out there right now. And I think we're going to be releasing it again soon, maybe on our Sewing Online with Sulky site. So be on the lookout for that.
Yes, good teaser. I like it, Jason. Thank you again for being with us. I'm just going to recap a little bit. Well, not really recap, because I did forget to mention at the start of today's So What that we have a great sale going on. So if you did enjoy hearing about all of those Sulky products and it made you want to run to your sewing room and run to the website to restock some things so you could try them out, we do have a great summer sewing sale happening now where you can get 35% off Polydeco threads and wash away stabilizers. So this is a really great time to stock up on those items. 35% off. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that. So be sure to be on the lookout for those items while you're browsing sulky.com, looking for all of the other great things that we talked about today and more. So I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. You don't need any sort of code. All of those items are just already on sale for you and ready for you to add to the cart. So thanks again for joining me and for joining Jason today on Sulky's 36th birthday celebration. We're all very excited, and so excited that you could join us for this super fun game, and we will be sure to invite you all next time. Again, make sure you have subscribed to our newsletter, and that way, when we do bingo again, you'll get much advance notice, and you can go ahead and go in and claim your card early and sit back and relax and watch all the fun. So thanks again for joining me on this So What, and I'll see you next week for more sewing project inspiration, and I hope you can join me then as well. Bye, everybody.